think that it's just a real disservice to not understand how great achievements occur. And it's so much easier for people to imagine these gods pulling it off, these near
Right.
god-like humans. But in some sense, I think that that's really sad too, because it does alienate people who want to be the innovators of great ideas unnecessarily. And it also just, yeah, it makes it's just not, it's just not honest, right? And that, dishonesty never leads to anything good.
Right. Well, to your point, I think, for example, it is nearly impossible to say really with any accuracy or seriousness when something was invented, because everything evolves. And this is true with ideas, etc. So whatever the object is, so many of the pieces had already been invented that the last person who creates it, let's say it's a telephone or whatever, or the car, the last person, you already have the engine, you already have the wheels, you already have the chassis, everything is already together, and just one person is just putting what has already been invented, all these other things by other people. And it's just one stage in the evolution that this person added this element. But there were many thousands of individual inventions before that, and as you keep on going back, those derived from other things. Alexander Graham Bell and Elisha Gray both. So the phone isn't invented for the tens of thousands of years of human history. Never invented. They both end up filing their patent for the phone on the same day. And the reason we celebrate Alexander Graham Bell is he beat him to it by a few hours, Elisha Gray. But the reason, now that seems impossible, but the reason it is that it happens identically at the same time is that all of the elements for a phone to be developed had been invented. And so now it's just a matter of one person putting together that last piece. So a lot of times the inventor is that it's just the last piece of something, of all sorts of material technologies that have been invented by other people. And this is true with ideas. This is true with stories. This is true with, the Hamlet story kept evolving and changing until it got to London. It's the same thing with everything. It's memes as well as genes that evolve.
Yeah, and there's an understanding that's built into us, right? This was Carl Jung's whole point, was that there's things that you don't know. And in literature, I feel like these are the roots of these stories that appear over and over again. Like, yes, of course, people are aware of the past to some extent, but there's some stories that are just so fundamental to the dramas that play out inevitably in our lives. There's things like my life and your life probably have very many of the same dramas. We fight with the same demons. They might be a little bit different in circumstance, but there's elements of it just being a human.
The archetype.
Yeah, it's really fundamental in some sense.
So it's astounding you're saying this. This is exactly what Plutarch's Lives is about, and exactly what the Shakespeare canon is about, is that these stories keep on occurring, that the reason you're studying Richard III, and the reason that it's so significant, because that type of guy comes along again and again, and the toadies that work from all these decisions, and they Plutarch's Lives specifically shows multiple comparisons. This tyrant occurred. This tyrant occurred. Look at the similarities here. It's the same thing that that is made in the plays with each of the major characters, especially major villains. He's just like so and so. This is what's going on, and they serve as warnings. Stephen Greenblatt, a Shakespeare scholar, absolute genius, wrote this wonderful work, Tyrant, and showing a lot of what was occurring over the last few years was completely predictable, and shows really shocking things. If you were to read the Jack Cade scenes, for example, in Henry VI Part 2, you would think that it was a spoof on what was occurring today. They wanted to make England great again. They were anti-foreigner. They were,
Nice.
They really believed they were going to sweep. They were going to sweep they were anti-elite, kill all the lawyers as part of that. If you knew how to read and write, they're the ones that are oppressing us, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It was just line by line exactly what was going on. And this is why history repeats itself, is because we haven't changed as a species and we're still susceptible to the same passions